Oh, man. Wow. Well, I guess we'll decide to do it live. Welcome back to another wrestling podcast. I'm Credo. Jonathan, man, it's been a minute. But we're doing it live now.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, again, I can't get used to this studio. Beacon Podcasting is our new home. And what a home it is.
Yeah, man.
Look at this.
This is it. We got signage and everything, and we're off to a great start. But guys, it's been a little bit. Summer's happening. We're in the middle of summer break. We got Superman coming out this week. Before that, we're gonna be talking about Fallout. We got ACW special tonight. Awesome Championship Wrestling talking about Fallout happening on July 18th. But we're not there yet. We're a few days away from the new Superman movie, Jonathan. This is what we're gonna go see.
Sure.
Are you ready for a new Superman? Is it time?
I mean, I think it's time. DC's been on a little bit of a dud run for a while, so anything that'll help claw them out, I'm all about it. What are your thoughts on Superman here?
Well, it's James Gunn. I mean, the man made me care about the Guardians of the Galaxy,
sure.
And I didn't care about him at all. The guy, I think he knows how to handle stories, right?
Yeah.
So kind of mixes into the wrestling world. But I'm ready for Superman. They've been hyping this more than anything over the past few weeks, so it's an exciting week.
It's a blockbuster. Summer blockbusters are here. I will say, spoiler alert, I did see the new Jurassic World.
Is it good?
Well, I don't want to stop the global machine and people from going out and seeing it, but I will just say parts of it are good. Parts of it are good. Yeah.
Parts?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's something else to look forward to. If Jurassic Park brought you down, Jonathan, on top of Superman, we're also having Fallout in 1 week here in Poughkeepsie, New York at the MJN Center, July 18th. It's the third show for Awesome Championship Wrestling. Jonathan, I know you were absent the first one. You had a bit of a stomach bug. Something was going around.
What happened. Yeah, I was dying, I think.
You're on your deathbed,
sure.
but I was like, sorry, Jonathan, I got to go. We can't wait for you. We're going. So you missed it.
Nope.
You were able to see the second show, Aftershock, in May. What did you think of that? That was technically your first show, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it didn't disappoint. I'm gonna say that I've been to a lot of wrestling shows from the WrestleManias all the way down to being at 6 other people in an event. And ACW, there's something different about it, and you can tell that from the moment you walk in. Obviously, being in the MJN Center, that's a big thing. There's a lot of wrestling lore there, but this ACW is something that is different, and it's really cool to be on the ground level and see something. It could have been a one-off. They could have done one show and be done with it. They've done 2. This is the third. And every time, I mean, I've watched the first one, obviously, but, every time I just see improvements. And I think it's worth noting that, it seems like ACW is a promotion that really is fan-oriented. From the moment I walked in till the moment I left, you could see that they were really catering to fans, and there was a great meet and greet, a lot of great vendors, just really, really special. And I think that it's important. It's really cool to listen to a band well before they get famous, and you'd be like, I listened to them, back
you
then.
saw them when they had the first. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's it's cool. It's indie wrestling, but it's indie in the sense that you can be a part of something. So
and it's affordable too. And I think that's what people miss out about is that you can go to a WWE show and you could drop $2,000 for sitting as close as you want at ringside.
Yeah.
To where this is in our own backyard. It's right up the street from us in Poughkeepsie. So it's like, all right, you think you're just going to another show, but you're going there. They have the video wall, right? They have the whole experience. They got some pyro going on. It's like you're at a WWE show, but half the cost, right? So that's what's great, especially being a father of 2, family, got to save money, right? So it's like, I'm not going to go spend $2,000 on this when they're barely, going to appreciate it to where I could show them this. And it's family, fun, and friendly, and affordable, right? So it's great to have that around, especially nowadays. Everything costs too much. I'm sick of costing too much.
I'll be honest. I saw your family there, and your girls were running around beating up all the wrestlers, and they did. I mean, I don't know how. I know they have to learn by osmosis by living in your house, but it seemed like they were having a great time, and I saw all ages, from kid to adult, and probably even older than adults. So, yeah, you should definitely, if you're in the area, even if you're in the tri-state area, maybe even a little bit further out, July 18th, come on out and see Fallout for sure.
No, guys, it's a great time, I think, but without beating around the bush about it, to where I think it's just awesome to have it.
I see what you did there.
Right in our own hometown, and that's what I think is the best part about it. But I think let's talk about some of the stuff that's going to be happening next week, because there's a lot of things, but I think the biggest thing is with Carlito. Sure. Carlito, just coming off a WWE run, still probably in the best shape of his life and his career, is going to be coming here, and he's going to be having a Carlito Cabana open challenge match.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things that could go with this. But first of all, let's talk about Carlito first for people, maybe some of the younger ones who don't know exactly who he is. Absolutely. Let's go back in time a little bit. He's a decorated champion. He's a former Intercontinental champion, a former U.S. champion, tag team champion, and most recently he was a part of the Judgment Day in WWE. What are your thoughts about? I mean, he's pretty much decorated as they come, right, for a former WWE star.
And to get even more granular into this, he was. He's a legacy. So his family were heavily involved in Puerto Rico and other places, Carlos Colon. He has a pedigree, and I think that just, again, you just threw out WWE. You're going to see someone who is literally fresh off of their run in WWE. I don't know how many appearances he's done prior to this show,
but
ACW, this is what ACW is bringing to the table. It's no longer like, oh, well, I wonder how the show's going to go. These people are coming in because it's such an important wrestling promotion in the area. So if you're a fan of Carlito, which I am, I've always liked the wrestling talk show segments, right? Piper's Pit, whenever Y2J did his, they did the KO show. The Cabana is one that I actually liked. It was during a time when they weren't doing as many of those, and I remember some very classic moments of the Cabana. Big Show. If you don't know which one I'm talking about, there was one that I thought had like a little more legs that just didn't happen. But so go back and definitely look at that one. But we're talking. The brief research I did because I wanted to be prepared for this. 2008-ish looks like the last time that a Cabana happened. So,
all right,
you've got a wide time frame there. That and I think it was when the Colones were still, Carlito and his brother, and I think it was Hawkins and Ryder that were like the last guests of the Cabana.
All right, so now we're gonna have the first time in how many years? The 17 or
something like that. Yeah,
17 years for a Cabana match, but it's a little bit different because it was like a talk show segment.
Yep.
But this one's gonna be an open challenge.
Okay.
So anybody can walk through those doors. Anybody and everybody. Let's toss some names out there. Maybe is there some names that you think we could possibly see here, or who did you want to see?
ACW's got a huge, deep roster right now. I mean, it could be anyone. Like ECW is in the area. There's some people. We've already seen some special ECW attractions.
Last show was Raven. Raven popped up out of nowhere on the last ACW show. So big name, but you never know who can.
Someone who was just inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Tommy Dreamer.
Yep, I would love to see
MJN.
some Carlito versus Tommy Dreamer action.
Yeah.
What about you? What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, anybody. It could be anybody. An open challenge, right? So, I mean, who's out there right now that could possibly show up? There's guys in TNA that are killing it, guys in MLW that are killing it. And we're on the Northeast. We're in the East Coast, right? So we're right above New York City, a train ride away. And it could be anybody. We're next to one of the biggest cities in the world. And our location, it could open the door for anybody. Who I want to see, maybe a legend, maybe like a Doink.
Okay.
Or maybe a Tatanka.
Yeah.
Maybe a Gangrel or somebody. I don't know. Maybe a WWE legend.
Sure. We know your thoughts on Honky Tonk Man, so as long as it's not him,
go back to episode 2. Exactly. So I think that's what's great about pro wrestling, right? Especially for this, is that you don't know who it's going to be.
Yep.
And it could be anybody, and that's what's the best part about going to it. It's the surprise factor, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this idea of an open challenge, we will probably mention it a few times, but Carlito's here in ACW now, and what does that mean for the ACW landscape? Where does Carlito fit in that landscape? And hopefully we get some answers after this open challenge.
No, for sure. And fresh off TV, man, I think you can't beat that, especially for a show like this. One of the biggest names out there for the past 10 plus 20 years or so. So I mean, open challenges is gonna be awesome. So we'll see what happens with that, but definitely. Who could step up could define ACW's future. We'll see what happens. But if we had to talk about this whole show here, I think the best way, I don't want to start from the bottom and work our way up, but we'll start from wherever we can and work our way up to some of the championship matches, if you will. Some of the names that are going to be happening, or one of the matches that's going to be happening, we have Sidney Akeem, formerly known as Reggie, formerly known as Scripps in NXT when he went to there, in the WWE, versus the Hunter AJZ. Have you seen Sidney Akeem, I believe he's going by? Have you seen this guy?
I mean, it's out of control. Like, when most of us probably had a trampoline or knew someone who had a trampoline, or
I don't believe he uses a trampoline. I feel like it's just his legs that are doing that sometimes.
Absolutely, but
he's the human
he does
trampoline.
Things that people do on trampolines, and he doesn't have a trampoline. And to see that transfer to the ring is going to be something special. And again, these people are showing out for the crowd. They're showing out for ACW to hopefully get a spot. There's only so many spots. We've heard that all the time, and these are coveted hours and matches and times. And hopefully we see more ACW events. And this could determine if these people are on those future events. So
no, for sure.
I think they've got something to prove. A Reggie, Scripps, whatever you want to say. I don't know what it's like after being in the big promotion and then finding yourself going other places. But does he have a chip on his shoulder? Does he have something to prove? I would assume so.
And for anybody who hasn't seen him, just go to Google, type in Reggie, WWE, and just watch some of his matches. I mean, so I think for people that know it, but a lot of people don't know it, is that he comes from Cirque du Soleil. It's a tough one. I can never say it right. I always want to say Cirque du Soleil and not Cirque du Soleil, and what you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But he has that kind of a background from performing in the circus. Not to put it down, but it's the Cirque du Soleil, right? One of the biggest performing places ever to be a part of. So that's his background. So he's an acrobat. He's a pure athlete for what he's doing. So you have kind of him who's kind of like the speed. You're going to go against the strength with AJZ, the Hunter AJZ, if you will. It's kind of going to be speed versus strength in this match. So do you think AJZ is going to keep Sidney Akeem grounded in this? Because I think that's what we're looking at here. We got the aerial versus the ground performer over here.
I mean, that's a smart move. If I am the Hunter, then I'm going to make sure that I keep my opponent at bay. And that's his. That's Akeem's, Achilles heel, basically.
Yeah.
If you can be grounded, then it's going to be a much more difficult match for him. And I just want to say, I don't know if you remember this too, and this is a random fact, but do you remember Mason Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, he's now also in Cirque du Soleil. So
that's right. I remember hearing that.
It's a weird, little connection. But, I mean, just like professional wrestling, these people are athletes. These people are really, really high level performers. So, I mean, you didn't ask, but I'm going to say right now that I think Sidney Akeem is the one to look for in this match. Regardless of what happens, I'm thinking that he's the one that may pull out the W.
All right. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with this because I feel like a lot of the kids go in there, a lot of the families. We, as wrestling fans, remember him and seeing what he can do, but I feel like a lot of people aren't ready for it. And, the guy's just phenomenal for what he does. So definitely expect a clash of styles, speed versus strength. It's going to be a real toss-up. But, AJZ is jacked, is intense, technically sound. He's the new, the narcissist. He reminds me of Lex Luger, kind of, but I don't want to put Craven the Hunter kind of, right? Sure. He's pretty much. I don't want to mess with him. The dude was lifting up trees and in his promo, so he's. Don't take him lightly, right? No. So we'll see what happens with that. But this could go on to be one of the matches of the night. I'm going to throw it out there. I know it's the first thing we're talking about, but maybe every match I'm going to say is going to be the match of the night. We'll have to figure out what it
Sure.
really would be. But no, Sidney Akeem versus the Hunter AJZ. Guys, don't sleep on it. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with what happens with it. Let's talk about some ladies that are going to be on the match. We
Sure.
have Tina San Antonio versus Lena Kross. I think we have Tina kind of more the vet between the two. Lena is more of an up-and-comer. I think coming out of Sydney or I don't want to say Australia, I'll say. But she's coming over to America. She's going to be wrestling here. I think she looks like – they both look great. They both look like superstars. But this is more than just like a women's match. I think this is a match that's probably going to determine the future of ACW because no matter what happens in the other championship match later on the night, these two could be up for working their way up to the women's championship category.
Sure.
So would you say this could be kind of a match for that?
Yeah,
for the number one contender, if you will. Even though it's not a number one contenders match, but something for the future of the women's wrestling at ACW.
Listen, there are so many people that are going to these shows. There's people backstage that are watching these matches, as they should. There are people that have their eyes on who the next star is. Again, going back to, we've all been in an indie show one day and saw a wrestler, and then 6 months later they're on TV. And I think that with Tina San Antonio and Lena Kross, like, you have two people that at any moment they're ready.
Yep.
And obviously, I was surprised looking up Lena, and she's huge. They call her the Phenom. She's 6 foot, and we all know that
you can't teach
that, right?
Right.
So I'm looking forward to this just because every match has the option to be the match of the night.
Yeah.
We just talked about that. So this match will show and cement potentially a number one contender, perhaps. And we saw Tina San Antonio at the last match.
Yeah, the six-pack challenge. She was part of that, yeah.
And, I probably talked about it before, but my wife now is a big wrestling fan. She's actually driving down to see Evolution.
Oh, you guys are going?
She is.
She's leaving you in the dust for the
She's leaving me
show,
in the dust. Yeah, I unfortunately am not getting to go to this one, but she came to the last show as well, and one of her favorite things is women's wrestling, and she was blown away by the six-pack challenge. She's a big fan of women's wrestling in general, and I think that this is probably one of those matches that it's going to have her talking, and I hope that whatever happens, that this isn't the end, that we see more of both of them, because I think there's a huge upside to both of them.
No, 100%. And that's the thing. I think we've became friends in this area by going to wrestling shows. That's the truth, right?
Yep.
So we've met each other going to wrestling shows, became friends going and seeing each other all the time at wrestling shows. And one thing that we didn't really see a lot is a lot of women's wrestling. Granted, some people in the past might have shied behind it or not have a lot of women's matches for whatever reasons, but there's a lot of talented women out there, and these two are some of the most talented wrestlers. And I think having them in our area, seeing a match, I'm a father of 2 girls, so they're excited to see women's matches too. So just like for me, when I was a kid, seeing guys wrestle made me love wrestling. I feel like they're the role models for the women of the future, if you will. So seeing a lot more women's matches, I think, is definitely what's needed, and it's about time.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. These two could be the future ACW women's champion down the line. We never know. We'll see what happens, but definitely going to look forward to that match. Are you ready for a little extreme rules, though?
I
We
mean,
gotta get a little extreme.
It wouldn't be Poughkeepsie without some extreme
It's
rules.
got the history there, right?
Yeah,
You got the ECW history of Poughkeepsie, and we've seen these teams. So Sent to Slaughter, Danny Moff, Sean Donovan with Josh Chernoff versus Crowbar and Kerr with Vanessa. Now, Sent to Slaughter, brand new tag team champions. We had them go against the Poughkeepsie's own The Now in the last show at Aftershock, and in which they became the inaugural ACW Tag Team Champions. These guys, you don't want to be locked into a cage with them. That's what happened the last match. They locked them in the cage, and anything kind of happened, right? So we have them as the ACW Tag Champs. But now you go against Crowbar and Kerr. You have one guy who's kind of maybe not all there. Crowbar, man. Crowbar is a crazy guy, right? The dude brings his own weapons. He's ready for a fight. Former WCW, former ECW, former guest on the show.
Yeah.
So the man knows what to do. Kerr, you're not just bringing anybody to this match. You're bringing a monster. So now you have. It's another monster. It's like a monster's ball match, if you will. All these guys are beasts, and I would not want to be the other guy in the ring facing off against any one of these guys. But now you add not even just that. Now you're adding Extreme Rules on top of this. So now, I mean, some of the first matches we saw with Sent to Slaughter was a tables match, and then a cage match, and now we're having an Extreme Rules match. These guys don't just have a regular way to earn their pay that day. They're going through gauntlets for some of these shows.
What I heard, and again, I heard that they request these types of matches. They don't want just a regular tag team match because they think it's too easy for them.
I'm saying it's.
They want to inflict punishment. We saw it, and talk about the future, like who's going to take these titles off of them?
And if you're going to ask me, because I know the Now came up short last show, but now you put these guys against them, another match that's like it could be anybody. I could see Crowbar and Kerr walking out as new ACW tag champs, and I can also see Sent to Slaughter retaining it. And it's one of those matches to where it's not so much that it's a factor of who's going to be the weakest link in the match. It's who's going to get the upper hand in the Extreme Rules, because you could bring tables, chairs, ladders, bats, carts, ECW, anything, signs. Bring your own sign. Back in the day at ECW, people would bring their own road signs and stuff. So I don't think it'll be that extreme because we've got new rules in 2025. But, an Extreme Rules match I think adds on top of this to where anything can happen, and it's going to be a dangerous night for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I saw most of them, last time around, and I feel like there's very few times when you see somebody. When I was a kid, I remember going to Roberts Stadium in Evansville, Indiana, and there was a cage match, and it was Undertaker versus Psycho Sid. So as a kid, Undertaker's music hit, the lights go out, and I literally got chills on the back of my neck. That was more just because of like the ambiance, but when Sent to Slaughter comes down to the ring, I have a similar feeling. It's an uneasy feeling, and I think that's probably what their opponents looking across the ring also have, no matter who it is. And I'm sure the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The Now is not a pushover tag team.
None of the tag teams we've seen in ACW so far have been like the skinny rink-a-dink guys from high school. Like the Now are big guys. Like they're beasts, right? The Sent to Slaughter beasts. Kerr and Crowbar beasts. Like this tag team division that we're seeing here is not like for the short of breath. I can't think of all these old sayings, but like. They're a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
they're very. It's a different. I think it's a different aspect of tag team wrestling, and I think growing up with like the Rockers, Demolition, or whatnot, and then LOD came on the scene with the spiked shoulder pads, just beast and just beating up everybody. That's where I kind of associate these guys, where they're like the beasts of the tag team division, and. It's a crazy night, man. If you're like tag team wrestling, if you just like wrestling in general, and you kind of want some homage to ECW era or whatnot, this is the match for you, I guess.
And I'm telling you, if I'm assuming there aren't too many ringside seats left, but if you are in ringside, you may be going home with some sort of souvenir, whether it's a person flying into the crowd. Like, what a story that you can tell for years and years to come. Get your tickets now. There are some still left.
This is ACW.com.
ACW.com. This is ACW.com. And like I said, those seats are going to be the ones where you may get someone in your lap. They may be taking your drink to hit somebody over the head with. Like,
it could be an awesome championship beer, because that's what I think Matt Cardona did the last show. Somebody had their This Is Awesome beer, gave it to him, used it in the match. I think he got it. He was able to get it back. I think he might get it signed. So what other promotion you go to has their own beer, Jonathan? I mean, this is
incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah.
No, I think it's one of those things where you don't want to sit in a certain area, like a splash zone, like when you go to like Disney World or like see Shamu or something. Like, you don't want to sit in that area because you're going to get splashed. Not technically for this, but I mean, it's a dangerous night with these guys with the ringside. So at the end of the day, I mean, an Extreme Rules tag team title match. If you got to pick one winner, who are you going to pick out of this?
I told you it's Sent to Slaughter.
Sent to Slaughter?
Listen, I had a great time talking with Crowbar. Nothing against him, nothing against Kerr. Like, I am genuinely concerned for anybody's well-being who goes into that ring with Sent to Slaughter.
No, and I'll tell you what though. On the flip side of it, I'm going to have to say, Kerr's going to surprise us. I mean, the man had a great showing in the Poughkeepsie Rumble. Picked up Wrecking Ball Ligursky feel like it was nothing. So for him coming into this, I think he's kind of like a secret weapon, if you will, during this Extreme Rules match, to where they're going to probably have to tame the beast in order to hold on to their championships.
I think you said it though. I think that they have to be focused. You got Crowbar, who's definitely a wild card.
Yep.
If they can focus, and then they have a shot. Now, I want everyone sent to slaughter. If you're listening to this, I said a shot. I didn't say that they're going to win, but
just give them your home address too, in case they want to.
Sure. It's where are you at these days? So I think that's going to be what it takes. I know they're prepping. I know they're working. They're ready for this, but they honestly have to be single-minded whenever they get into that ring against Sent to Slaughter, because if not, we've seen other teams already fall, and I am concerned.
And not to put any anything past Josh Chernoff too, because I mean the last show we saw he brought out handcuffs, and they gave the handcuffs to the team to lock up the Now in the cage. So I mean keep an eye out on him too, because he's another factor for them. But on the other side too, you got Vanessa. Man, she was doing a Hurricane Rana from the top. Or I didn't expect that.
No.
So both of their managers, both of who they're coming out with, are also a factor in this match, and I feel like don't count them out, because they're going to add to this match, I think, somehow or some way. And I don't know. I think it's going to be close. I think we could have new tag champs.
I think we hang them from the ceiling in cages to keep them, out of the match.
I'm saying that could be a future match.
Yeah,
You're probably giving them ideas for future shows now. Sure. But either way, it's going to be a crazy night. Moving right along, though, we have the national title match.
Yep.
Take you back to Aftershock, the debut of the national championship. Real One, formerly Enzo Amore from WWE, is going to be going against Zack Clayton. So we saw Zack, too, in the past with the FBI.
Yep.
I think the FBI are going to be home this time around. Who knows? But, I mean, Zack's coming out to have a title shot. On his promo, he said from the last show, I think he felt a little bit was given to him in an unfair way, to where Raven interfered on his match, so it cost him his match against Dreamer. But having this now to make up for it, I guess they're giving him a championship match against the Real One. So both guys are from Jersey.
Yep.
We got, I think, one from Hoboken, one from the Jersey Shore. You got the Real One versus the Reality Star, kind of in a way, right? But once again, this I could see this going either way, and that's what I think so much about ACW, is that all the matches, I feel like in the past 3 shows, is that anybody could win out of this. It's not an obvious, oh, look at this guy, he's not going to win.
Yeah.
I have no idea who's going to win kind of a thing, and that's what I love about, as a fan, going to a pro wrestling show, not making it too obvious to where, this guy looks like he's just going to get the win on it. But no, this is anything goes, and I think. And Zack, I think, could be walking out as the new national champion.
I mean, I don't think it's a Shore thing. You see what I did there? Say Jersey Shore thing.
It's not a Shore thing. He's gonna take that.
I really, with Real One, it's been interesting to see his. You talk a lot about going to WWE is like the pinnacle, right? Like if you start out watching wrestling, like if you're not aspiring to go to one of those bigger companies, then what are you there for? He was performing at a high level when he was at WWE. Like, I remember seeing Real One, people would talk along to, thousands of people knew his catchphrases and all that stuff. What I saw at the last show with him in the MJN Center, nothing has changed. If anything, Real One has gotten better.
Yeah, and he looks another guy that looks like he's in the most incredible shape of his life, even since leaving WWE. So it's like in one of the best shape of his. Is in the best shape of his life, I think, just on the outside looking in. Now, it's a toss-up, too. I think Zack's got a little bit I don't know the height difference. We could probably look it up, but I think he's got a little bit of height over Enzo or over Real One, so, I mean, maybe that might give him an advantage for this, but, it's anything can happen, I guess, with this. And, one of those things to where I think we're going to see what Zack can actually do to become the new national champion. I feel like we've seen a little bit of what he could do. He was interrupted from the last match, so I guess he was arguing that he didn't really get to showcase all what he could do. Yeah. Now is his chance, and if he's going to go, he's got to go big or go home, right?
Listen, if he doesn't walk out as the new national champion, it's gonna mess with him. It's really going to do something to him, because you prepare for these matches and then no one thinks about what happens after that. You're in the car on the ride home and it starts to kick in. Did I make the right move? Am I going to ever be a champion? Yeah. And I think that's Enzo, he loses he goes home and he feels bad about it, but he can hang his hat on the career that he's had. Zack Clayton needs this win. I'm going to say it right now. And you know, I think that he has all the tools to get that win. It's one of those, it's too close to call. I'm excited for it. Again, I know earlier we talked about show stealers. This one might be my pick for the show stealer of the night. That match right there. I'm circling it right there.
Is there a prediction? Do you think Zack's has to take it home?
I mean, I think he has to.
Yeah.
I want him to show me why he is in ACW.
Sure.
And I think this is his opportunity to do that.
No, perfect. I mean, the last so to get the national championship for the last one, it was a 4-on-4, right? It was a 4-person match. Four-pack challenge, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so Real One outlasted 3 other guys: Dante Casanova, Landon Hale, and the Big Ben Bishop. I was going to say he's 6'12",
yes. Yeah.
But no. And so to outlast those guys, I feel like, all right. And so Real One proved himself in that match. So I feel like he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder going into this, because now it's just a one-on-one match. He's already did the 4 match. So I think coming into this, I think he's got a lot to prove to retain the championship. So I mean, if anything, can keep going for the national. What can we call him? He's the national champion. The voice of a nation.
Yeah.
He's the voice of a nation with this championship, right? So,
and again, all of this is, I'm going to keep saying it because it makes sense to say that all of this has repercussions, has stakes. Like, so, you know, Real One's the national champion right now. He could very easily turn that into a title shot going against whoever the ACW champion is at some point. You work your way up. They used to say the Intercontinental title was like the workhorse champion, title, you know, the working man champion, the stepping stone. Whoever that person is has a weight on their back. And, you know, you are being chased. Yep. It's not so much like 24/7 rule where people are going and find you when you're eating dinner, but like that messes with you too.
Yep.
And Real One has to say, okay, let's say that I get past Zack Clayton. Who's next?
Yep.
And that's gotta weigh on you a little bit too. Like, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
No, for sure. Speaking of what could be next, I think this match could possibly be a match for that. I want to bring up Mike Santana versus Dante El Jaguar Casanova.
Okay.
I could see this kind of a match being your number one contender for maybe a future national championship title match. But let's talk about this because we pretty much have TNA versus NWA, if you will. Yeah. Dante Casanova, he's the current NWA Midwest champion. He's a fast guy. He's a hungry kid. You know, he's a dangerous asset, right? But then we have Mike Santana, coming from AEW, found his way into TNA. Now with the cross promotion with NXT, he's kind of working his way up into the main show too. Yeah. So, but he's also on ACW. He's making that stop there too to just keep proving why he's one of the best stars out there today. What do you think about this TNA versus an NWA kind of a matchup? I
love this because again, it's where else are you seeing this? Yeah. You're seeing this in ACW, and you're seeing, you know, TNA, you're seeing I love the fact that a lot of promotions now are kind of opening the door. For example, you know, you hear Forbidden Door a lot or whatever, but this match is happening live in Poughkeepsie, and you know, you wouldn't see this if ACW hadn't been around. And I think that what I've been seeing out of Santana, this is the best that I've seen out of him. Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head. He's in TNA, was at NXT. Now he's coming to ACW. Do you think that he's not one to show out and show off? Like, yeah. He's there. He's hungry. But I saw Dante Casanova, and I feel like the same thing. I feel like he is on the cusp and is just looking for that. And whoever wins this, I think you hit the head. Like, they're gonna be on that upper echelon of maybe a number one contender, maybe implications again of what is happening for the future of ACW.
Yeah, and you know, I know we're focusing on ACW right now, but that same weekend, Mike Santana will also be going for the TNA championship that weekend. So, I mean,
We may see.
you may see a future TNA champion too the few days before. So,
Yeah.
I mean, another great time to come out, especially as a fan. I remember being as a kid and just seeing somebody and see them live on TV. I remember seeing like Bret Hart on Superstars doing an interview, and then he was going to be at the Middletown Mall like a few hours later, and I couldn't believe it as a kid because I'm like, how is he going to get from there to there? And like, I'm going to be there. And just to see them on TV as a kid, I think it's a great realm of world to mix
Sure.
it all up, and it just makes it more fun at being a wrestling
I
fan.
think that's something that we didn't talk about yet either is when you go to the ACW show, there's also a meet and greet that
Yeah.
happens. And,
a little fan fest.
you know, you get to come beforehand. You can say hi to some of these folks that are going to be there,
Yep.
get things signed, take a couple pictures, whatever. And that was the thing that, again, I saw when your family was there and others, how accessible these people were.
Yeah.
And, it was really telling to me to see some of the people who were really the masterminds of ACW being out there and shaking hands and talking to people. And it's really cool. So, get out there beforehand, the doors open, get into there, see,
5:30, yeah.
meet
they
up
open
with
for all
friends,
that, yeah.
tailgate, do whatever you want to do, but make sure you go there. This is acw.com to get your tickets. And then, I want
Actually, I'm going to stop you there, JB, because we have someone on the call right now. Vic is on the line.
We got Vik Dalishus from the Now. Vic, man, how's it going?
It's going awesome, boys. How you doing?
Doing great, man.
This is incredible.
Great. Anything could happen here live, Jonathan. This is the new aspect.
Okay, all right,
Anything
all right.
could happen with it. Well, Vik Dalishus, man, we've been talking about the whole show up and down. We still got a few more matches, but I think a good segue for this will be about your announcement at the show. I know we're going to try our best to get it out of you here, but maybe tell us a little bit about Fallout coming up for the fans tuning in right now, and then we'll get into maybe what your announcement might be.
Well, first of all, you guys have been doing a tremendous job talking about the show. I'm so impressed with JB's ability to plug. This is ACW.com. And your analysis on the matches so far, from what I've been listening to while I've been here silently in the background, you guys are spot on with a lot of your analysis. So I'm very excited for a lot of these matches, too, to see some of this stuff actually happen in person, live. Some of these dream matches, really, for like independent wrestling fans. A lot of it's going to be really cool to watch play out right there at the MJN Center. So I'm very excited about it. This is our third show. This one came about real fast right after Aftershock. We had the opportunity to have Fallout right there in the MJN Center, a summer show. So we jumped on it. We took the opportunity. This wasn't in the cards and part of the original plan when we set out at the beginning of this year to have this show. It was an opportunity that kind of fell in our lap, so we figured, let's do it. Let's make this happen. So we didn't know what was going to happen after the first one. We had some ideas in our head of what we wanted ACW to be throughout 2025 and into 2026, but you're only as good as the show that's right in front of you, because if something doesn't work out, or all of a sudden the fans decide to poo-poo on it and it's not something they're into, then you don't go forward. So we've been very blessed to have the fans of the Hudson Valley be into what we're doing, and the fans that have been watching on Triller and following along on social media and YouTube. We've started to put together quite the following, and it's really, really awesome to see, pun intended.
Now, you have many hats. We've talked about this before, and it's one of the things that I think in the world of wrestling, it doesn't get talked about enough. There's no more seasoned vet than you, Vic, and I really appreciate. I'm like I said, from the Midwest. It's maybe a little known fact. I mean, you were in OVW. Like you've had a hell of a career, and to see this new side of you, it's really impressive, because there was a hole in the area for wrestling, and ACW came along and filled that. And I'm as somebody who loves wrestling and as a fan, I have to say it was a little hard for me to watch that last match. It looks like you're doing great, but what's your thought process after being in that match? Like, how are you feeling about your future, the Now's future, after that match?
Well, I appreciate you saying all those nice things. That's very, very cool of you to say, and I feel that it's coming from your heart. So that always, a genuine compliment like that is very much appreciated. We've talked about what it's like to be part of running the operations of the show and having to have your head in a bunch of different places all at the same time. And we felt we were very ready for that cage match at the last show. We felt that we had handled all of our business beforehand that we needed to. Things were running very well. Show-wise, we had the right team in place that was handling a lot of what needed to be done as far as the minutia of the things that were to make the event run smoothly, and we were prepared. And then to actually get in there and have that battle and that war that we had with Sent to Slaughter, we didn't imagine that we were not going to win, to be very honest with you. The ACW tag team titles were something that we had our hands in designing. It was something that we purposefully wanted to win that match and be the first ever ACW tag team champions. You know, there's title lineages that start out and never forget who's the first champion, really. And ACW being Hale and I's baby, we wanted that to be ours. And then we were blindsided by Joel Gertner turning his back on us. He slammed the cage door in my face. He wrapped it around my head a few times, and then they all of a sudden they locked the cage door with a padlock. They threw some steel chairs in there right before they did that, and then they handcuffed us to the cage. And there's a couple of times when you go back and you watch it where you can actually just see the pain across my face when I'm getting smacked with the chairs. With the handcuffing, Sean Donovan actually handcuffed me to the cage where one of the handcuffs were already locked and he couldn't get it unlocked. So he actually locked my wrist to the cage itself. There was no give, there was no pull, there was no wiggle room there where normally you'd have like an inch or two to kind of like move your arm around. I had none. I was locked to that cage. And as we're getting beaten and I'm looking at Hale and he's getting smacked and I'm getting smacked, and all of a sudden it kind of just like comes over our face that like we're screwed. There's no way out of this. We're gonna take the L right now, and it sucked. It really sucked. My body hurt for days and days afterwards. My spirit was a little bit broken. I was definitely it took a lot to get over losing that match and the beatdown that we got. And to hear Sent to Slaughter's joyfulness afterwards, their promo that they posted where they were excited about how much the fans booed them and threw things at them and spit at them, and the visceral reaction from the fans. Like, my kids were there, and as we got undone from the cage and attempted to make our way up the walkway, I looked down to my right, and my daughter was just absolutely bawling her eyes out, and she stuck her arms up to me, and I had no choice but to just bend down and pick her up and give her a hug to let her know that her dad was okay. But I really, you know, as a dad, you put on that brave face for your kids, and I'd like to think that my kids look at me a little bit like I'm a superhero for what we go through and what we do. And there was no, I could only put on so much of a brave face. I could only like let them know that dad was okay so much. But like the next day, you know, I'm limping around the house. I barely moved out of my bedroom. I could barely make it to the table to have breakfast, and it sucked real bad. And you start to like really think about how many more of these you want to do, and you start to really think about the risk versus the reward. And I've been blessed to have an over 24-year career in professional wrestling. I've come back from a major injury when I was told I would never even be able to walk correctly again. And I have had an amazing career, and the risk versus reward starts to really creep into your brain after a 24-year career. And you start to really question a lot of things about yourself and about your passion and your goals after having everything taken from you in the manner in which it was taken from us. So we've done a lot of soul searching. We've done a lot of communicating about it. We've put a lot of thoughts, feelings, and planning into what it is that we want to say next Friday night, July 18th at the MJN Center. And hopefully we have everybody's full attention.
Well, you have mine. That's for sure. You know, I'm glad that you guys are doing well.
Way to bring it down, Jonathan.
Hey, sorry.
We were happy we had him, and now you're like, it's like you triggered the whole.
As the most professional podcaster, I have to ask these questions.
Right.
And, you know, I'll say that you brought up the fans, which is a great point. I've watched a lot of wrestling. And I've been to USWA shows, and I've seen Lawler in Memphis. And I will say that there is no greater crowd reaction than the now in Poughkeepsie. And so I feel like they were there with you in spirit, but they're all going to be really, you know, on the edge of their seats to see what the now have to say, just like I am. I know I said it before, but get your tickets and yeah, I'm kind of at a loss now.
No, yeah. So, Vic, I do want to ask you this, because we were talking. You know, we do have SummerSlam coming up in a few weeks, and we saw a video online too recently, and it's like, hey, take your family to go see WWE, and it's like, I just spent $2,000 to get like a semi decent seat. To where, what's great about this, it's in our own backyard, right up the street from us. And it's affordable for family to go to, and that's what's great. I mean, just as a dad of two girls, like I pay for enough of stuff to where I'd rather have a break and not have to break the bank to go see a fun show. And like, I think what's great about ACW is like you're going to a show just like any show you see on TV. You got the lights, you got the video wall, the entrance stuff, and it's just the best of both worlds. And I think that's what's great about Awesome Championship Wrestling being like an affordable show that anybody could go to. Do you find that, you know, kind of like the same thing to where people are coming to the city soon to go see a SummerSlam, and it's a lot of money? Or I could just go to our show, still see same quality kind of show, but it's a lot less money.
Yeah, that's really what the purpose of it was fundamentally from the beginning, was to have it be affordable, family-friendly entertainment. And I think we've towed that line really well as far as the family-friendly thing. We've tried to be, for the most part, as family-friendly as we can be. You can't always prevent every single slip of the tongue from some people, but for the most part, I think we've done a really good job with creating a family-friendly environment, something that you'd be proud to take your kids to and have a good night out and not break the bank, you know. And the times that we live in, it is not cheap to get entertainment. Everything costs an arm and a leg. There's tons of fees to everything. And we've tried to make sure that if you wanted to bring your family to pro wrestling in Poughkeepsie, that it was something that wouldn't cost you $500 to do. So if you walk right up to the box office at the MJN Center, you avoid Ticketmaster fees, which is something that we've been able to have that deal with the MJN Center. And I think that's one of the, kind of Easter eggs about our ticket sales is that, yes, you can buy Ticketmaster and get it done that way. And unfortunately, there's fees that we can't do anything about. But if you go to the box office and buy your tickets right there in person, you can avoid all of that stuff and make the ticket even cheaper. So the concession stand certainly isn't a lot of money. And we have some of the most high quality merchandise that I'm very excited about and super proud of. The t-shirt designs that we've come up with and the merch that's out there, the hats, the t-shirts that have the show card right on the back is really one of the things at our last show that I thought was just so cool. It was one of those like throwback kind of things that you can only get right there at the show. And, you know, we've actually been able to have replica championships made of our championships. There's one right over my shoulder right there that my son covets and carries around everywhere. He is the real ACW champion.
You have a chance, Jonathan, to win the championship.
All right.
His son will probably kick our ass, but I'm just saying, you know, it's.
I do want to say something too, and again, I don't think you guys are tooting your own horn enough I've been to WWE at the MJN Center. If I walked in not knowing that it was ACW, you would have a hard time telling me that that's not WWE. The production value is insane. Like
some say better.
Listen, I'm just saying that it's not like, sometimes you hear independent wrestling, and I know, Vic, that you've done it before, where you get a hot dog and a handshake at these shows. There's six chairs set up, the ring's rickety, whatever. Like, this is professional. And again, for me, if I'm spending money, whether it's a lot or a little or whatever, I want to see that. I want to be a part of something that you can tell that you all take pride in it. And I think that that's another Easter egg, to use a term that Vic was saying, that, when you go to the show, you can very easily transform yourself into a very big deal. And yep. I think that that's what this is, the third one for ACW. Hopefully there's many more. But if you're looking for something that is a high quality, look no further than ACW. I'm still shocked after going to it. Like, I shouldn't have been, but it was a very, very cool setup, and I mean, super professionally done. So kudos to you guys on all that behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, thank you very much. We wanted to make sure the branding of everything looked on par with television quality professional wrestling, and that's what we wanted out of our production too. And hats off to Steve. He's done a great job with helping us out with getting some of that stuff live and on TV. We couldn't do it without him, to be very honest with you. And to have that quality production all across the world for people to see was something that was important to us. And we wanted to make sure that when people actually watch this production in other parts of the world, they saw what the MJN Center in Poughkeepsie truly could be, and what it has been throughout history in the world of pro wrestling. So having our logo on the barricades all the way around the ring, on the turnbuckles, the big video wall, having the lighting, the cameramen, if you had just known what we've gone through to have the hard camera shot, so it looked like 1993 WWE Monday Night Raw, you probably wouldn't even believe it. So we've gone through a lot of growing pains to make sure that we provided everything the right way, but we also spared no expense. We have put our own money into making this happen. We've done a lot to make sure it looked high quality, and we want to be able to compete out there with the highest quality pro wrestling. There's some really good pro wrestling companies right now. Like, independent wrestling has, I like to say, it's a tier system. So there's levels to this, and we like to consider ourselves at the top end of that tier system. So you would be hard pressed to find a show higher quality than what we're producing. So that's what we're looking for, and we're right there with some of the best that's out there. Reality of Wrestling, Ohio Valley Wrestling, Maple Leaf Pro. But we're trying to be on the level with that kind of stuff, that kind of quality, because after that it's MLW and TNA and AEW and WWE, NXT. So like that's what we're trying to be, and that's what I feel like we've successfully managed to pull off for our first two shows. And this third one's going to be no different. We just need the fans there to pack the place out.
No, 100%. I feel like, for my world, it's the production world, right? So seeing behind the scenes sometimes, I feel like people don't understand that, like, it takes a village sometimes. Like, it's the stuff that ACW is doing. WWE has like 500 guys or 50 guys doing it, and we have like a small team doing what we can to make it as best as we can. And I feel like, some people don't understand what goes into like a regular national TV show compared to what we're doing. And, it's like it's unbelievable. It's especially from the production world outside of I'm not a wrestler, so I don't know that part of it, but just on the other side of it, it's a big deal for what you're getting. And I feel like, especially when you said you want to spend your money on what, this is where I would totally want, This is where you want to spend your money. We do have somebody from the chat room, though, Anil, who's actually a friend of AWP. He's asking if the national championship has a replica yet, because he wants it. And I think, Vic, if you want to maybe mention anything about that?
It will be available at this show. There will be a replica of the national championship, and the ACW Heavyweight Championship. Those are the first 2 titles that we're going to have as replicas you'll be able to buy at the show. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you get there early, get in line early, make sure you're one of the ones in the building, because I'm pretty confident that they're going to go pretty quickly. We've made them affordable, so they're not like astronomically priced. They're really high quality. They're made by the exact same people that have made the originals, the one that Richard Holliday and Enzo Real One are walking around with. That is the same championship, just a replica version. So,
where was this company when I was a kid? Come on, we could have did that. I would have loved as a kid to have like a replica of the championship I went to of a show, and I'm like, you guys are doing it on your 3rd show, and it's amazing.
Listen,
I love it.
You weren't poor like me. I had cardboard and aluminum foil. I don't know what else you needed. That was it.
Cardboard championships.
See?
Okay, here's a cardboard belt. My son still does that right to this day. So
awesome.
It still exists, but to be able to have the high quality stuff out there, like,
it's amazing.
I remember the first belt I had was when I went to WWF at the MJN Center when I was a kid. They had the tag team title, and it was a gray foam.
Yep, I have those. Yeah.
And they had the heavyweight championship, but it didn't look like the Winged Eagle, which is the one.
Yep. That was always a mystery of why.
Yeah.
The tag team one actually looked like the tag team one, so that's the one I got. And I only got one of them, so I had one tag team title belt, but me and my buddy used to wrestle for it constantly. Yeah, like it was the real thing. So to have that opportunity to make that a reality for the fans is something we were like, if we can do it, let's do it. And we're going to, at some point, have replicas of all of the titles available there. So if you don't get one this time, just be patient. We're growing. We're going to get it for everybody. And if it's something that you want and there's not one available, make sure you make it known that that's something you want, so we can make sure we have it there, or we could even try to order some for people that are looking to get them. We can probably start taking some online orders at some point for the replicas, because I know it's going to be something that's pretty hot, because like, number one, they're high quality and they're affordable, which is something that isn't always possible in the world of replica title belts. A lot of times they're questionable quality and like $500-$600, and we're not going to do that. So
no other show has done it around here. I mean, maybe there's a show somewhere else, but in our area, all the years we've been here, nobody's ever done that, and I can't believe, like, that's amazing.
And Vic, I think that you said something that I really want to hit, is that you said you're growing, and I think that that's cool. It's like the fans can grow with the company, you know, and so it's been high quality from the beginning. I only expect more. I'm sorry that I am expecting more and more and more, but I'm it's being delivered, so that's why I'm expecting it. But as somebody who put pen to paper to come up with ACW, as someone who's helped book, as someone who's competed, what are some things that you are still wanting to see from ACW? What's next in that sort of realm? Like, how do you see it getting bigger and better?
Wow, that's a great question. Right now, I feel like every goal that we have set, we've started to just kind of meet it and try to shoot past it. So I'd like to see that we're at some point doing back-to-back nights of shows. That is something that we are trying to put together. As long as we keep being successful along the line here, we'd like to do some shows where we do a Friday and a Saturday, or a Saturday and a Sunday, maybe in different parts of the state or even different parts of the region. That's like a long-term goal that I think we'd like to do and put together. And we'd also like to grow a little bit in the Hudson Valley. There's a lot of places around the Hudson Valley where having a high quality pro wrestling show could be a real possibility. So that is one of the things that we'd like to do, is like, once we're confident in our brand and our company and that the fans are behind us and supporting us, we'd like to take the show on the road a little bit. And as somebody who was a part of House of Hardcore when we started, I remember when we were running at the MJN Center, and then all of a sudden we decided to do a House of Hardcore in Philadelphia. And the fans of Poughkeepsie kind of felt like they got left behind, and that they got kind of forgotten about when they were there to support the company to start with. And then it became solely a traveling show, or a lot of times just in Philadelphia. And there's different reasons for why that happened and all that stuff. But I promise the fans of the Hudson Valley that we will never lose our roots. We will always be in the MJN Center a couple of times a year. As long as the fans are coming out to support us, we're going to continue to do our shows there as well. So I think when we're talking about goals, one of the goals is to remain as a presence in the Hudson Valley and in the MJN Center as like our home base. And I would like nothing more than to be able to turn the MJN Center into the ACW arena, because I really feel that that is the kind of place that could really support a pro wrestling company like ours all of the time, all year long. So as much as we'd like to grow and move to go to other markets so people can see what ACW is live for themselves, where they may not be able to do that in Poughkeepsie. I don't ever want the Poughkeepsie fans to feel like we're going to leave them out in the dust. We will always be in the Hudson Valley at the MJN Center in one form or another several times a year.
Well, that's
incredible.
awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah. Now, Vik, I know you got a lot to do before next week, but I think to leave it on this question, and we kind of harped on it, what we could possibly get out from you guys with your big announcement. I mean, I saw a post today. You guys were kind of thinking what fans might think it could be. Some people thinking maybe it's both or one of you guys retiring, or something else that's happening, a TV deal, a toy line, I don't know, an arcade game or whatever. But anything you could leave us with about why we should come out and hear this announcement, or something maybe you can tease about what it could be. I don't know, anything.
Oh, Steve, you're asking really tough questions there. I can guarantee you that it's going to be something that you're going to want to hear, and that it is something that is going to define our careers, Hale and I together. So it's one of those announcements that we're going to make that will I think help define who we are and what we're all about, with a sense of putting a stamp on our career. So I don't want to give away anything about what we're going to talk about or what the intentions behind making the announcement are, but I want to make sure that we do have everyone's full attention while we're out there and addressing everybody. I want everybody to know that our announcement is well thought out, well talked about, fully supported by Hale and my families. And what we're going to say and what we're going to put out into the universe is going to be something that will absolutely define Hale and I and put a stamp of approval on our careers.
I tried to get
listen,
it out.
I think I've pieced a little bit together,
Oh,
and
he knows.
if you all are asking for me to be your manager, it's I'm on board. So
That's
just,
the big
if that's
announcement,
what it
ladies and
is,
gentlemen.
then
I gotta tell you, we haven't had the best luck with managers here, so I don't know if that's something that
listen
we want to get to, but
to quote the great poets of our time, the Backstreet Boys, "I'll never break your heart and I'll never make you cry." So just in the back of your head, just remember that in case you need it. I'm
Okay.
there for you all.
okay.
Well, before we let you go, Vik, we do have another question from Anil in the chat. He says he actually saw Leo Sparrow at a Credo Pro Wrestling. So he's asking, is there a developmental maybe for an ACW a chance? I know you guys were the trainers for House of Hardcore. Do you see maybe like a developmental system happening down the line at ACW?
I certainly think that there are a lot of places that are developing the future stars like right now, and at some of those places Hale and I even compete currently. I think ISPW is one of those places in New Jersey that has a really great eye for young talent and talent that is making their mark on the independent scene, and a lot of the talent that you've seen at ACW have come from ISPW as well as Credo Pro. It's a kind of a feeder system all in and of itself, and at some point having an official farm system for what we're doing is certainly like dreaming big, but it's certainly a possibility because you have to find the next generation of talent all of the time. You can't just rely on people that are fresh off of television or that are like currently at the cusp of like being signed or things like that. There's different levels of people, and one of the exciting things I think about ACW is you get to see some of the people that are going to be in the next year or two, some of the main talent across the independent scene. And a guy like Leo Sparrow or even his opponent the last show, Liamo, are two guys that could set the world on fire. They have all of the charisma, all of the potential in the world, and even a guy like Dante Casanova, who I know you guys were talking about him looking for that next opportunity to be the breakout. He is one of those guys where you just see that he's going to have the bright lights of a major organization shining down on him in no time. And we are grateful to be the ones that are giving guys the opportunity to actually show up and show out and give the fans an idea of what they're capable of and what they can do when they actually get a big time exposure and opportunity like what ACW provides. And to have it be in the MJN Center in the Hudson Valley is certainly really cool. And those guys, it's really cool to see some of the guys come to the MJN Center for the very first time, and they walk in and they look around and they're like, some of them the last show somebody wanted me to show them right where Orndorff turned on Hogan, or where Big John Studd and Andre the Giant, and the haircutting thing, and the ECW moments that happened in there with Jerry Lynn and RVD, and where Jerry Lynn got knocked out right on the floor, where Dreamer broke his back, or where the commentators used to sit, or like all the cool history that's in that building. And to see some of the guys like walk in there for the very first time that actually are students of the game and appreciate the history of pro wrestling, it's really cool to see and to give them that chance.
And I think that it's incredible because you're writing the next chapter of history in that building. If you haven't already, this is acw.com. Go out, get your tickets. Be there for the meet and greet. We just found out that there's going to be replica titles. This announcement's got me nervous, I'm going to be honest. So, I mean, I'm going to be there solely to find out what's going on. But is there anything else about this third show, Fallout, that you want to let the fans know about before we go?
Well, I think you guys have doing a pretty good job of running down the match themselves. I know that I'm excited personally for Carlito's Cabana. Carlito is a friend of mine from OVW. We started when he got signed to WWE. He came there at the exact same time that I had pretty much just gotten there in the summer of 2003. So long ago, I can't believe that. But I was there for when he shot his first vignettes. I was there for the day that he came back and told us all about how he spit an apple in a guy's face in Miami. That became the whole thing for forever. And I'm excited to have him doing some of his first independent shots after being a part of WWE and the Judgment Day there with us. It's very exciting. We've been able to put that together and have him be a part of the show. Carlito is just like one of those guys where I've never really seen him have a bad match. And he's got great charisma. He's got a great attitude about things at this point in his life and in his career. And I'm excited to have him be there. I'm excited to see what happens between Richard Holliday and Matt Riddle, because I think it's going to be the independent match that everybody hoped it would be. I think that they're both going to bring their best that night, with Matt Riddle being the MLW heavyweight champion and Richard Holliday being a former product of MLW and now being the ACW champion. He's got a lot to really prove, and I think he's done a really great job of showing everybody that he has that chip on his shoulder and that he wants to carry that ACW championship into the future as like the standard bearer of what the champion should be for a company like ACW. And I think Matt Riddle is hungry to add another title to his reign. I think that he would like nothing more than to be on MLW television with another really beautiful championship belt. So I think that's going to be one of those matches that we'll be talking about as like, wow, that match really stole the show. And the same thing goes for the women's match with Indi Hartwell and Vicki Venuto. Like, Vicki is just on the cusp of really grabbing some national attention. She's done a great job with getting herself in amazing shape, making the most out of every opportunity. She had a match against Tessa Blanchard down at the 2300 Arena not too long ago. Then she came up here and did really well in the six-pack challenge, and now she gets to go one-on-one with Indi Hartwell. And Indi Hartwell is wrestling Tessa Blanchard, and 2 days later at Slammiversary for TNA. She is at the top of her game right now, very highly coveted wrestler that is doing such a great job of rebuilding herself after a WWE run. So, like I've always said, that there's people who come off of a WWE run and kind of just rest on their laurels and try to just run on the name that they made there. And then there's other people who try to redefine themselves. And Indi Hartwell is one of those who is not happy to be complacent, not happy to settle with what she did. She is determined to prove that there's a lot left that she didn't get to show everybody. And being the ACW Women's Champion gives her a real big opportunity to do that. And it validates a lot of how she felt about herself, just in talking to her and knowing like what that meant to her. I know that she's very appreciative and excited to have a title defense in the books. So Vicki would love nothing more than to take that belt away from her and to go on to her tryouts that she has coming up, and for the big leagues, and show them all what she's got too. So that match has another chance to really like grab everybody's attention and steal the show. So as far as the show being the matches that we've put out there and that what's on the card, like there is not a match that I think is not excellent. I think this is the best booked show that we've put together. I think from top to bottom, you're going to see some of the greatest wrestling that has ever been in Poughkeepsie. And that's saying a lot, because I've been through a lot of pro wrestling shows in Poughkeepsie, and I think this one is really put together to make a statement for what ACW wrestling really is. And mixed in with some surprises that we have already planned and some exciting twists and turns that'll be there. This is going to be one of those things that you're going to want to be there in person to see, because it's not going to be the kind of just like, oh, this is just like just the next show. This is we're making a statement with every show that we do that we are an actual real entity in the world of pro wrestling, and something that you're going to want to keep your eyes on from afar and get there to be there in person to experience live.
No, it's great. You know, Vic, we don't want to keep you too long, but, you know, this is ACW.com, and Jonathan, we're going to be there. Fans are going to be there. I think it's going to be one hell of a time, especially to kick off summer in the right way with an awesome night of wrestling. Again, it's very apropos ACW. This is awesome, and everything that I've seen so far has been awesome, and I completely am excited for this one. As a longtime fan of wrestling, I just keep getting more and more surprised and more excited about these shows. No, yeah, Vic, we're going to be talking about some wrestling and got some more matches to talk about, but we thank you so much for joining us, man. We'll see you next week, July 18th, for ACW's Fallout.
Thank you guys for having me. I very much appreciate it. You guys are doing a great job. This is my favorite show to listen to. And
I didn't mean to say that too. That's good. That's honest.
Keep it up, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon, Jonathan. Though, you know, we gotta get into the women's match now. Yep. He brought it up, so thanks to Vic for stopping by. What a surprise! Our first live show. We got anything can happen to AEWP. Anything can happen to ACW. Like you're really starting to see it. I know, man. So okay, he brought up the women's championship. We got to get into. That's one of the biggest championships of the night. They just released the full match, which I love watching on YouTube. When they release like matches, people like the whole match. So if you didn't see it on Triller, you could see it on ACW's YouTube now. So they just released the six-pack challenge and how we got to this point, right? So we have the ACW Women's Championship on the line. Indi Hartwell, current champion, versus Vicious Vicki Venuto. Jonathan, you know, we saw Vicious Vicki at the first show at the Rumble. She came in, made a little statement, interference on the first match. She had her chance in the six-pack challenge. Surprising at the end too, because I think she was knocked out of the ring at one point, kind of hid from the others under the ring, if you you will. Popped up at the end, thought she was going to win it right there and then. But she held her ground with Indi, so I feel like now that we're going to get a one-on-one match, this could be a whole different match for Indi right here, who's going to be defending her championship for the first time. So, I mean, another match. I said this all night. Anything could happen. But what do you think about this match we got?
It's a test. It's a test for both of them, right? It's a test for Indi to prove that she belongs where she's at, and it's a test for Vicki to say that she's not just a person who's kind of moonlighting at wrestling. Like, this is her thing now. Yeah. This is her job. And so they both have different things to prove, but there's still a lot going on there. Indi Hartwell, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody better as a wrestler, not just men, but women as well. I think that coming onto the independent scene, she's got a great run going. TNA, she's in there. And I think that seeing her at the last, ACW show, I saw her and I saw a different side of her, a more focused side of her. And I'm looking forward to see what happens. Interesting enough, I just made this connection. Vicki Venuto might be in the next Adam Sandler movie, because if you know anything about Adam Sandler in his movies, Veronica Vaughn, Vicky Valancourt. So I don't know what's going on about this, happen. But could be in Happy Gilmore 2 coming out soon. But Vicious Vicki Venuto, definitely not one to sleep on. I think that this match, ACW is bringing out the best in people, and I look no further than this match to prove that. And I think that I would say that Indi's going to hold on to this. There's only one first champion, that was Indi, but there is a second. There's always a second and possibly a third and a fourth. Vicky's going to have to really be studying tape right now. It's next week. She's going to have to be looking for weaknesses in Indi. I don't know that I've seen one.
Yeah. No, it's another close match. I mean, the six-pack challenge last show brought a different variable to the table, if you will. You got six girls going against each other. Anything can happen, right? And then it got narrowed down, and by the time it got narrowed down, now they're at like 50% energy, right? Like, they've already went through the rigmarole of this match, and now they had to fight each other at the very end. So, Vicki probably couldn't have, I think of it in like a video game, right? Like, she lost all of her power. Now she went through the 6-person challenge. Now she's got one person left. So we didn't get the full Vicious Vicki. So I think now that we're going to get the full Vicious Vicki Venuto in this match versus a fresh Indi Hartwell, it's going to be close. I mean, now it's one-on-one. It's a lot different than a 6-pack challenge. So I feel like, Vicki's been proving herself the past few shows, showing her why she's wants to be the queen of ACW, and this is her chance to step up and shine a little bit. And, Indi, man, it's not going to be an easy match. It's not going to be an easy way to retain this. So I feel like going into this, both of these women have a lot to prove. Once again, Indi being a former NXT Women's Champion, a tag team champion, coming out now being the first inaugural ACW champion, still showing her worth on the independents, if you will. It doesn't feel like the independents, though. It feels just like another major show. So, being able to do that. And with Vicki, she was a guest on our last show going into that 6-pack challenge. But now going into this, man, I'm hard-pressed to say that it could be anybody else except for Vicious Vicki with this match. I think she's going to possibly turn some heads and outlast Hartwell for the championship, and who knows what will happen. But, I mean, it's going to be a great women's championship match. And at the end of the day, you still got other women in the wing that could be up for whoever wins this championship that night.
It never stops. They're nipping at your heels. And, I mean, that's the thing. To be a champion, you have to be consistent, and you have to make sure that you're ready for the next thing. So, you can look at this match and say, like, I'm ready for Indi, or Indi can say she's ready for Vicki, but are you ready for the next?
No, for sure. And, will she rise to the occasion, or will Indi solidify her ACW reign? We'll see what happens. But, we spoke a little bit about Mike Santana and Dante Casanova before. We got interrupted by Vik. I don't think we got to say maybe who do you think out of that one? I just want to curious. Who do you think who's going to turn out that one?
I mean, I said it before. I think Santana's on the run of his life right now. I'm a big fan. Also, like Vik said, Dante Casanova is is there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to even predict this match because I'm going to be happy either way. Sometimes, if this person wins, we're fans, we're fickle. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
This match for me has the ability to actually the better. Sometimes it doesn't happen this way, but I think the better person is going to win this match. That's the way I see it.
So you're not happy whoever won or lost. You're more or less happy just to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
that works out. All right, I just wanted to get your quick reaction with that. But now we're on the main event. This is a first-time ever match where Matt Riddle, who is the current MLW champion, but that's not on the line, but he's going against Richard Holliday, the current ACW heavyweight champion, which is on the line. So this is for the heavyweight championship for ACW. Riddle coming in with a UFC background versus Richard Holliday, who actually posted a funny video. If you guys haven't seen it today, he's actually went to a jiu-jitsu or some kind of training thing and tried to it's hilarious if you guys see it. ACW posted it. But what do you think about this? Because, I mean, Matt Riddle came in and had a TNA championship match on the first show, but now he's going in for another championship, this time being the ACW championship.
Can we just stop?
All right.
All right. Can we, I'm tired. It's 8:21. I'm tired of pretending that Richard Holliday isn't the bar.
Yeah,
he Matt Riddle, Zack Ryder, the Poughkeepsie Rumble. This guy, I've said it before. You can go back and check my work. He's the guy, and it's not just. I don't see it as the main guy in independent wrestling. You pick him up and you pluck him out, put him in any other promotion, and he's a star. This guy, there's no question. I'm not taking anything away from Riddle. I want to be clear on that because any of these guys could beat me up. But the point that I'm making is that Richard Holliday is champion in ACW as long as he wants to be champion in ACW.
All right. When I look at Riddle, on the other hand, he kind of is in that category of don't mistake my kindness for weakness, because I mean anybody not knowing his background and just like UFC and whatnot, just mixed martial arts, whatever, you could be like, this guy, but I'll tell you what, if you go up against that guy, you could rip your head off. He may be the cool bro and all that, but at the same time, I mean, he's legit in everything that he does, and he's a gentle. Do you want to categorize it as like a gentle giant, but don't mistake my kindness for weakness kind of a thing, to where he looks like your everyday friend, just hanging out, but at the same time he's deadly. He's deadly with what he can do, and he's already been a champion countless companies from WWE, now MLW, but just. What do you think, man? What do you think about this?
I think you're saying a lot, and
I think I'm trying to get the other side. Riddle.
Told you.
You're not Holliday.
It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler.
All right.
It's Richard Holliday, and again,
the most marketable champion.
I mean, this
mastermind
person that we saw what he can do in a Rumble situation, which is something that it's very hard to prep for.
Yeah.
We saw him go against the Indi God. And we saw what happened there. And again, when I put my eggs in someone's basket, when I'm saying I'm going to be a fan of this person, it's nice if they can talk. Like sometimes, they say they talk you into the ring or whatever. It's awesome if they are very athletic. You name me a person up and down the card that is better at both of those things, and then we can talk. But for now, you put Richard Holliday in any of these matches, and it's going to be the same outcome as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I just want to make sure, this wasn't just a regular match. This could be a full-on shift in the company, because if Riddle does win it, we have a brand new champion leading ACW.
And when Richard Holliday wins, we will talk about the next person that is going to challenge him. But I don't want to take anything away from Riddle, but I think that Richard Holliday's already won the match because he's in Matt Riddle's head. And that's a scary place to be, I'm assuming. So,
well, he does have his signature move of the old between the legs kind of thing, and but when you got Holliday, we got Riddle on the other hand, he's kind of
stop trying to downplay his greatness. the next time that we're sitting here,
Yep.
I'm going to be very happy that I don't have to eat any of my words.
All right.
That's my thoughts.
Well, it's going to be a great night. July 18th, we talked about all the matches. We had Vik Dalishus stop by. Real quick, though, if you had to pick any of these matches maybe to be the match of the night, I know I kind of mentioned some earlier, but now that we talked about the whole card, what's standing out for you? What do you think is going to maybe steal the show?
I mean, there's up and down the card, there's a chance for any of these matches. Like, this isn't like, oh, this is the, again, us wrestling fans. I don't know why we're fans of things when we just tear it apart. But anyway, this is the bathroom match. We've all heard that. Like, there's I will probably pee my pants versus getting up and going to the bathroom for any of these.
Yep.
But I definitely think that we've got something with Indi and Vicious Vicki, looking down the card as well. We talked about it. I think probably Real One versus Zack Clayton.
Yep.
But again, it's pick your poison.
Yeah,
Whatever
for sure.
you're looking for is here.
No, yeah, even just looking at this card, I don't know if you guys saw here, we got a little poster out here, but just from looking at this, I'm gonna have to say, I got it right there. Like, there's graphics out there, we'll see it. But Mike Santana, if you guys didn't see his last match, he went against Moose from TNA. I thought it was one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah.
He's on fire right now with Santana. I think any match he's in is going to be great. So I think Dante's got a lot to work to prove himself. But Mike, I think he always has a great match. So check that out. And I think I said it before. I think the Sidney Akeem, man, Sidney Akeem is going to shock a lot of people because I feel like we as wrestling fans know him, of course, but I feel like everybody else going there to see the wrestling show have no idea what they're going to see. So I feel like that's kind of like a nice little sleeper pick. But at the end of the day, man, pro wrestling's back in our yard. We get to go to a show right up the street. Awesome Championship Wrestling. This is ACW.com. Don't sleep on the tickets. If you don't want to buy or get those fees on Ticketmaster, go to the MJNCenter.org or MJN Center. Go to their website, get the tickets off there. Go to the box office in person. If you're local, it's right up the street, man. So it's save some money. At the end of the day, man, it's more wrestling, and it works out for us because we're another wrestling podcast.
It's been hot out. Go get inside this nice air-conditioned building, watch a nice, awesome night of professional wrestling, and, we'll be there. Come say hi.
Buy us a replica championship.
Exactly.
I
will challenge. I'll challenge someone for theirs. But, like I said, it's really important for me as a fan to feel like part of the show.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what ACW is doing. And I look forward to this and hopefully a long line of shows down the road.
They even have trivia before the show with Hudson Valley Trivia. And JB, John Bryan with Hudson Valley Trivia, there's some glitch in the matrix because I know two JBs.
That is correct.
Both Jonathan or John, still got the same stuff.
Yep.
And you're both, like, you guys got beards.
Yeah.
You guys are both probably the nicest guys I know. It's a glitch in the matrix. You guys need to meet because I feel like you guys probably doing commentary one day is like, this is what the world needs. But I just want to leave that up there. Trivia, you win prizes too. I think people won a water park passes last time, so it's a great experience.
You got to get in the ring.
Yes,
I mean that's
you get to go in the ring, get to go in a ring, get to have a replica title. Why wouldn't you want to go as a kid? I want to go back in time and make myself a kid to go to now the show because like that, it's so exciting. And now I'm just sitting here as 43, and I'm like, I'm old, but I want to go again. That's it. I'm doing it for my kids now, Jonathan. That's it. So guys, go there. We'll see us. Say hi to Jonathan. Say hi to me. It's gonna be a fun time, but. Beacon Podcasting. If you guys are listening and want your own podcast, come on down to Beacon. Tell Sal from beaconpodcasting.com AWP sent you, and you guys could be doing the same thing every week. So, Jonathan, it was a great first live show back. We'll be doing more. Guys, stay tuned, and man, I'll see you in a week.
See you next week.
We'll see what's going on. All right, guys. Not bad. All right, guys.
Here we are.
All right, everybody.